Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Dhyanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Triguna-rahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adoration to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal. Beyond the three gunas and their modifications, supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha in Utpatti Prakarana, section number is 113. And the topic is Vasanas, subtle desires of your mind, and the role they play, and the project of destroying those vasanas in order to attain liberation. Remember, for attaining liberation, remember three fingers. Manonash, Vasanakshaya, Tattva Dhyan. You start with the small ones. Manonash, Vasanakshaya, Tattva Dhyan. Cha Munda, that comes in Devi Puja. Cha, you start your charan, acharan, the action that you do. How should you live your life? How should your mind be in the ideal way? And the ideal is mind should not let go the purpose of life because of the challenging situations. Adversity comes, prosperity comes. But mind should not let go and must realize that all adversity and prosperity is a part of its learning profound lessons. Both are needed. You need day and you need night. You need activity, you need rest. You need prosperity, you need adversity. Both are needed. So if that type of profound understanding were to develop, then you are heading towards Manonash. And if you become completely established in it, then that's your goal. Now, mind holds its secrets in the subconscious and unconscious. And there in subconscious you have impressions, samskaras. Samskaras act like seeds. There are countless seeds, but you don't worry about them. Only a handful of those seeds have given birth to your present personality. Much is there, so don't worry about it. Only a handful. That's called prarabdha karma, fructifying karma. That determines jati, ayu and bhoga. What class you are born in. How long will you live? And what will be the pattern of your adversity and prosperity in life? All like this, like an author is trying to make a plot for writing a story. Brahma is the author. And he has first planned highlighted points in your prarabdha. Prarabdha will bring these things. But there is another opening, Purushartha, your self-effort, which will go on experiencing the fruit of karma, at the same time creating new karmas. What type of karmas you create as you are involved in experiencing the fruit of your karma? There lies your Purushartha, self-effort. And it is that aspect that is this focus of satsanga. Satsanga cannot change your prarabdha. Satsanga cannot change your destiny the way you have created it. But satsanga can change your attitude to karma, awaken in you Purushartha, self-effort, lead you to a channel of grace. Because as your self-effort starts, it gains, just like you start in your car to go to an airport. But when you have gone into the airport and gone into the plane, then you simply sit back and ask for tea. But if you didn't have self-effort, you couldn't be in that state. I'm giving you a simple way to understand. So, grace joins with your self-effort, but only when you are involved with a spiritual movement. Allow your Godward movement to occur in your life. Then you begin to experience the role of grace. So finally, your goal is to attain liberation, moksha. Moksha is not being confined to the limited mind. All your experiences through the limited mind, they become your realities in the practical world. But they are sourced by your samskaras and vasanas. As we go on, I will give you more and more insight. Yoga Vasistha continued, O Rama, since the vasanas are essentially untrue, they must be negated in order to attain the realization of the self. For understanding this point, think of your dream experience. While you are dreaming, you experience things just like you will be experiencing in the waking state. When a dream, a tragic situation develops, you don't smile at it. You go through it unless you have that awareness that it is a dream. That rarely occurs. What I'm leading you to understand, that what caused your dream, subtle impressions. Your vasanas or subtle impressions, if they are mature, the result will be in your waking state. If they are immature, the result will be in your dream state. Say you did something wrong, negative. You scolded a person just by your tongue. It didn't mean much. That scolding will occur in your dream and you'll get good, nicely scolded. But suppose your karma has been strong karma, mature, then you cannot exhaust it in your dream. You have to have actual practical experience. Now come to another level. Suppose you are doing sadhana, becoming more involved with the spiritual movement that begins to neutralize your negative karmas. So a negative karma that could have led you to have a car wreck. So that's an experience. Now by sadhana, you will experience a car wreck in your dream. If you reduce it further, then you will have an experience that your car is wrecked, but by the time you go there to see the car, it was somebody else's. I'm talking to you how karma goes on giving you different results depending upon your Purushartha, self-effort, and where you are. And what we are leading you to understand, that all your samskaras have no reality in them. To put in a very simple way, you put on a colored glass, and suddenly you forgot it, you have put it on a colored glass. And now you complain, everything is, hell has come, you will lose. Everywhere I turn, what a world. All the terror now you are getting is out of ignorance. Ignorance that has no reality behind it. So vasanas that keep your soul in a state of bondage, those vasanas have no reality in them. They are radiations of ignorance, avidya. With ignorance is not a reality, but ignorance causes lots of problems. All the miseries are due to ignorance. Here I'm talking about ignorance in a mystical way. Ignorance that doesn't allow you to realize I am Brahman. Again, let me clarify the role of vasana. As I have explained to you, first stage, ignorance. Ignorance-based mind becomes a fertile soil, or rather, it's agreeable field for sustaining seeds of karmas. Seeds of karmas that are very deep. They are known as samskaras. Out of those seeds of karmas, a little portion becomes prarabdha for your next embodiment. Those seeds, they're like a sprouting seeds. Think of the seeds in the field. Some are very buried, and they will operate the next season, and maybe sometimes years later after the forest gets burnt up. It happens, if you have to study that. But vasanas, they are seeds that are now coming up. They are sprouting. That is sprouting stage of karmas. They are called vasanas. And when the sprout actually begins to emerge from the vasana, that sprout is called vrittis, thought waves. Your mind plays the game of Google. Thought wave is your finger touching, creating a Google type of dimension of knowledge. One touch, and ask the Google to bring out information about all the hotels. And then you get bored. Put another tab. You want to see the peacocks dancing. It changes. These are thought waves, vrittis. Now at the stage of vrittis, if you have spiritual sensitivity, if you are moving on the spiritual path with sincerity, your intellect will have its capacity to relate to you that this is a wrong type of thought wave. So stop your Googling business. Now you can do two things. If your will is weak, then you will not listen to your intellect. You listen to your ego. If your will is strong, so even though what you are doing seems quite interesting, you will listen to your intellect. So, at vritti level, if vritti is coming on a negative way, you can stop it in a very simple way, without much effort. But if you do not have that type of will and that type of guidance from your intellect, then the vritti turns into desire. While vritti, you are playing with the Google. When desire phase comes, you open your window and see the peacock actually before you. It's a big difference. Now we're going to another level. Desire, if you continue to be fascinated in that direction, desire turns into craving. In other words, it will not stay innocent. It will lead you to do karma. So now you become involved with karma. Krishna, craving leads you to karmic involvement. Karma will give its fruit. Karma can be good karma, negative karma, known as papa and punya. Papa, sinful karmas, punya is meritorious karma. These karmas will give you pleasure and pain. They will give you countless things, but here I'm just simplifying. Only two fingers, pleasure, pain. And while you experience pleasure or pain, your experiences go on creating impressions. Seeds are formed and they go into your unconscious. Stored, they will not operate. They go through a whole mathematical process because there are many other seeds waiting. So in this cycle, the vulnerable point within the cycle is the vritti state. As it emerges from the subconscious, comes to your stage where your experience is only with your fingers, Googling. There, you can make a change in a very simple way, changing the thought vritti. But when you become too involved, you do not stop it at the vritti level, then it becomes a bigger problem. Another way of saying, if you find little fire entering your house in the form of a little smoke and a little fire, this vritti state. It may need only 1 cup of water to finish it. But if we ignore it, you have to call the fire department and lose everything you have. So now then, insight into vasanas, those subtle desires that sprout, that insight becomes very important. And the role of satsanga is to impact upon your vasanas. The whole story of Devi Mahatmya, the ailment, general disease that exists in people is vikshepa, distractions of the mind. They are caused by your vasanas, the subtle desires that you don't understand. It's coming at the subconscious level. But at the same time, you are smelling it. Only you can't decipher what it is. But those you are deeply involved with it. Now that's our topic in mother worship. It is described as a mahishasur, is a buffalo-shaped demon, vasana-based vikshepa that restricts the soul from attaining enlightenment. Allegorically described like a big buffalo. And that buffalo was destroyed by Devi. Devi is all the energy, divine energy that operates within you. Vasanas alone have deluded the mind and have produced the magic show of the world process. All the vasanas and whatever you are experiencing through them, they are all in a dream type of experience. Led by satsanga and led by your sadhana, when you purify your vasanas, then you emerge free of all vasanas. Once that realization has developed, your vasanas simply exist to pale into insignificance. As I give another way of understanding, and you have come to a state of allowing the light to pass through opaque clouds. Once opaque clouds that were dark, opaque, creating a lot of horror. Same cloud now begins to shine and shimmer. Instead of seeing the big tusks of demons in the cloud, now you see wonderful Lakshmi emerging out of the same cloud. And when you come to that stage, your cloud is gradually moving away. Ultimately, you emerge without need of any cloud. You are the sun. Vasanas alone have deluded the mind and have produced the magic show of the world process. The world process, past, present, and future. The world process where you experience reality in the physical plane. Time, space, that reality. And reality that you experience on the basis of your sentiments. You may figure out which is more real. And reality that you experience in the plane of your understanding. Okay, 3 planes called 3 lokas. They keep the soul in a state of being loco. Soul is not in its own essential nature. The soul is gripped by these illusions. The illusions of the physical reality. Illusions of the sentiments. Illusions of your intellectual concepts. They grip you in such a way that it is just life goes on under that grip. But by good karmas and God's grace, when you begin to develop the awareness that how fortunate you are as a human being, and now your attention turns, what is the purpose of all this? This big iPad that has been given to me, what's the purpose of this iPad? Should I go and Google it first? 3 lokas? Or eliminate the whole Googling process? Do not be duped by the witchcraft of the Vasanas. Witchcraft that has been explained in the Mother Worship book in a more detail. Led by your Vasanas, firstly, that state, the spirit of negative Vasana, is described as Mahishasur, a demon with a buffalo head, with 2 big horns. Everything the demon understands only on the basis of those horns and the big nose of the buffalo. People normally say to others, pig-headed. But scriptures scolded in a bigger way, buffalo-headed. So, that Mahishasur had 8 generals with him. They are the witchcraft factors. Let me just give you simple information. One general known as Chikshura. Akshu is eyes that give refracted vision. Eyes that have not met with opticians. Next is called Chamar. Chamar relates to darp or conceit. Next one is called Udagra. Udagra is just like you see an agitated animal ready to crush, or in a state of agitation, ears up, eyes up, teeth up, coming out. It's called Udagra. Very agitated, ready to jump, but don't know what to do. These are the characteristics of the role of Vasana, what makes all this possible in your personality. All this I'm talking in a negative way. If you are in positive direction, then that will be a different type of agitation. Not agitation, to be aspiration. And aspiration is totally different. It is relaxing, gracious. Next one called Mahahanu. Hanu is chin. Maha, chin becomes so swollen and goes up. That relates to pride. Next one called Asiloma. Asiloma means that which makes every hair within your body under terror. And that's the role of worries, anxieties. Next one is called Vaskal. Vaskal is a rascal. So, someone who plays a role that you can't figure out, is it negative or is it positive? And end up resolving with it by just scolding you, rascal. And that relates to sense pleasure. That's the rascal. Next one called Parivarit. It's greed. Greed that creates lots of parivar, a whole family type of near and dear ones all come together. And I will not go into detail. The next one called Vidal. Vidal is like a cat. All soft all over. But Be very careful. From the pause, your eyes can be scratched within a moment. So the scriptures have their own way of giving you so many insights in a very colorful manner. These are the expressions of witchcraft, of your vasanas. Hollow like the stalk of bamboo, but the substance behind the vasana is completely hollow. That's the miracle of all the problems of life, of countless problems. And go to satsanga and hear the snake on the rope. So don't be duped, just the rope. Easily said, but now we have to understand all the details. So it is hollow, it has no substance. Invulnerable to swords, like the waves of a river. It's hollow, but can't cut them down. Waves in a river, you can't stop them by your might. Old time might was your sword. So if you go into the river and cut down the waves, you can't do that. Similarly, even though your vasanas have no substance, but even your biggest strength can't work upon it. Intangible like mist, yet like an incessant waterfall. Vasanas come rolling in cascading waters of illusion, breaking down rocks and molding patterns of the world process. All the changes that we study in society and in the world, they all are based on vasanas. The type of vasana with which you look at the world, the type of vasana that seems to dominate majority of people, that becomes the yuga. And it's a matter of vasana. No matter what yuga, if you develop positive mind, you find it is not Kali Yuga, it is Satya Yuga. If you get more positive mind, Yuga is not, it's all Siya Ram Mai Sab Jag Jani, the whole world is Brahman. What about Yuga, all that story? It's a big myth. At this stage, let me give you a simple understanding of different types of vasana and their control. This point we have touched several times, but it's called Gada Parinyaya. You go on hearing it again and again. Firstly, the vasanas that you are concerned with, vasanas that are based upon 5 aspects of ignorance. Avidya, the type of mind that is not sensitive to realize what is the truth, but permits ignorance. 2 ways of removing problems. Someone has come to tell you about your problem. You say to this person, don't come, get away. That's good. You are letting ignorance cure your problem. So ignorance is the root. So all the actions that you are based upon ignorance, they are creating a type of layers of veil. and they go into the building up of the vasanas. Next is asmita, egoism. The type of ego that you have, that goes on creating its own impressions. And your vasana is fed by your egoism. Next type of vasana, raga, attachments. Each time you found a joyous connection with any object, any person, you get a record and along with it a wish. May I have it more? And likewise, when you have negative experience with objects, hatred, thorny type of experience, then you go on creating vasanas of moving away, turning away from objects that give you pain. We call raga and dvesha, attachment and hatred. And lastly, fear of death. Fear of death, as long as you are embodied, fear of death is so instinctive you hardly know it. But there isn't a moment that you have forgotten. You're coming out of your house and a lizard jumps upon your head. You're not worried about the lizard. But you're worried about your life. Fear of. So all these 5, they go on creating their impressions. And Vasana world holds those impressions and are defined by those impressions. Now, this Vasana stage expresses itself in different conditions. In children, all these negative vasanas that I have described, they are called klishta vasanas, vasanas based on kleshas. In children, it is called prasupt. Prasupt means they are dormant, they are as if sleeping. If scorpions and snakes just sleep, don't worry. The children show up very simple, idealistic. One should be like a child, but not childish. Next stage called tanu, attenuated. If you became interested in disciplining yourself, attracted to go to the ashram, stay there for a while, and then you find your mind has not hurt anybody, you have not thought of ill will towards anyone, you have not lost your temper. And then you begin to tell people, look, my kundalini is waking up. It has come to Agya Chakra. How do you know it? You have never been angry. I'm not proud. I'm very humble. That's deluded state. In conscious plane, it seems that you don't have provocative situations. So in conscious plane, you don't feel that those negative qualities you have. But that should not delude you, they are still there. I describe it like a refrigerated snake. Poisonous snake, little refrigerated, you can put the snake on your neck and go viral. But give a little milk to the snake, warm milk, and now you have to run viral. That's, that's the state of Tanu. Next state is called Vichinna. Vichinna, that's what recognized by in the mass social level, people who are considered very courteous, sajjan people, good people. Good people, again, don't become deluded by it. That normal goodness is a foxy quality. As soon as you don't show up, you are negative and keeping it hiding. You are recognized as a very good person. But how good you are, you know it. Put it another way, you invite people in a house, and because of the shortness of time, you don't clean up. All the dirt comes, put it under the rug. People come say, oh, what a clean house I've ever seen. But somehow they are getting virus. This is called vichinna. Negative vasanas are covered up by positive vasana. And next stage is called udar. Udar means vasana is completely uncontrolled in such a way that you don't even know that it is something wrong. You become absolutely bully-headed. And anybody who says you are a bully, out. This is Vedantic psychology of the vasanas. What is the ideal? Ideal is lead the vasanas to tanu state, attenuated under discipline, under good sadhana in daily life, good association. But don't become satisfied simply because your vasanas have become like a rascal. In other words, move into deep insight to gain experience of samadhi, to have Tattva Dhyan, knowledge of the self, that intuitive vision, I am not the body. That intuitional vision acts like fire. Now the vasanas turn into, they are called Dagda Bija. Now they don't disappear. They become more spiced up. Try to understand now. You find anger in your heart or mind, but now it is a spiced up. So it is a matter of your choice whether you will use it, crush on it, or not. And even when you eat it, it will not germinate, even it falls from your hands. In other words, as long as you live, there will be a need for being angry, a need for controlling. Suppose your own loving baby is going after fire. You can't say, oh baby, you look so good. You have to express. But the anger you are now expressing is a toasted anger. Organic toast. Similarly, when we express a lot of love and attachment, that also is a toasted. It's not creating karmas. It is within your own control. So try to understand Dagda Bija state. Doesn't mean it simply moves away, but it all stays in your own personality. But they are not effective in maintaining your illusion. They don't add to your karmas. And that state is attained, Dagda Bija, by Tattva Dhyan, knowledge of the self. When the vasanas are completely negated and thrown into the abyss of oblivion, that's figurative term, simply means vasanas become roasted. One attains infinite bliss. Once you are out of the control of vasana, just like the sun, when it is out of the control of clouds, it's absolute light. One attains infinite bliss. But when a person is driven to pursue his vasanas by his dreamlike imaginations, then he continues to create miseries for himself. O Rama, it was because of the magic of vasanas that King Ravana experienced a life of many years during a short time. And King Harishchandra experienced a life of 12 years during a single night. I'm not telling those stories, just understand. You don't have to go after stories. Sometimes when we are very happy, life passes, time passes fast. No complaints. Only complaint that the day shouldn't be so short. On the other hand, when you are in a state of suspense, every minute that passes is like a long duration. Time is not a reality, except for clicking into the clocks, that's all. It doesn't have any reality. Led by pleasant vasanas, a person lives through a long time as if it were a few minutes. See, good vasanas are behind it, and life is very joyous. Time passes by. 10 years have gone. And you, on your birthday, blowing the candles, 10 years? Where was I? But driven by unpleasant vasanas, suffering from anguish and pain, one feels as if he has lived through a long, long time in a short duration, just within half an hour. Will this misery ever go away? Was I ever free from this? The entire Google has changed. Google vision. Behold the magical powers of the vasanas. Vasana is now being described as a mystic female spirit. She is like a dust cloud in her appearance, encompassing the absolute self and compelling him to appear like struggling souls. How that is possible? How something strange compels the sun to struggle through every bucket of water in reflections. Follow that type of story. Continuing to perform her endless dances everywhere in the world. When wisdom is lacking, She appears like the forces of darkness parading the earth during the sunset. That's how the demoniac stories are presented. The moment darkness comes, the demoniac people who are hiding, they all become very like owls. Spark up. But when viewed with the sight of wisdom, she disappears even like a flame that has been extinguished. When captured, nothing remains of her. Capture the avasana, try to understand what is this? It's just like capturing the water of mirage. It seems such a wonderful water, shining, shimmering. And you jump into finding that water, capture it in your cup. Unless you have lost your mind, you find your cup completely empty. Such is the mystery of Vasana. So with this I will conclude. Om Trayambakam Yamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukuma Bandhana Mrityor Mukshiyam Amrita Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti. Om Hari Om.